All right. So I don't have to wait for that we're recording. Okay. Good afternoon. As Vice Chair of the Commission, I have been asked as the next proceeding officer under our current themes to open this meeting. I'd like to call the meeting of Tuesday, February 20th, 2024 to order, acting under the provisions of the Code of the Town of Barnstable, SS 112-1 through 112-7. The Historical Commission will hold a public hearing on the following applications. The following applications have been determined significant and were referred to at a public hearing. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast on Xfinity Channel 8 or High Definition Channel 1072 in accordance with MGL Chapter 30A-20. I must inquire whether anyone is taping this meeting and to, if they are doing so, make their presence known. Hearing nobody. Yes, Erica? Nobody? Okay, we'll proceed. We ask that during the afternoon's proceedings, cell phones be turned off and conversations other than those before the commission take place outside this remote meeting. When an application is called, we ask the applicant and all interested parties and abutters to identify themselves. Lastly, as a best practice for meetings held remotely, where we may not be able to visually identify who is speaking, we ask all commission members and participants to identify themselves before making any motion or comment. Online audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of a hearing can use the raise hand button to notify the chair. Dial-in audience members wishing to participate during the public comment section of the hearing should press *9 on their phone to notify the chair. All participants will be muted. You must be recognized by the chair to participate. Our first order of business is to take a roll call. I'll take names, I guess, as I've written them down. Jack? Is he here today? No? Okay, Bob Frazee?
Here.
Cheryl Powell?
Here.
Marilyn Fifield?
Here.
Barbara DiBiase?
I'm here.
And George, did I forget you?
Yes, here.
There you are. Okay. All right. I think the first thing we really want to do, Erica, is have a moment of silence and explain to the public why, right? Is that okay? Oh, you're muted. You can just...
Sorry, I was going to share my screen. Yes, it is with a heavy heart that our chair, who had served this commission, passed away in the end of January. So we're just going to have a moment of silence for Nancy Clark. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everyone. Nancy, I also wanted to share, this is from Nancy Shoemaker. Nancy Clark was actually working on a book.
Yeah. Can I speak for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
Any of us might want to. You know, I don't know how many, I'm sure a lot of people know that Nancy couldn't get around much towards the end there, and yet had such a spirit of happiness and looking towards the future right up until the end. She's a very, very special person in my life. And this book is something that she's been working on for a while. And I, in December, designed some covers for her. This is one of the options. She was a philatelist, which is a stamp collector and historian, and got numerous awards for working on that. And she just devoted her life in the last few years, particularly towards this. She got a degree in music, which I hadn't realized, and piano and the organ. But I should let somebody else speak a little bit too.
Did you know that Nancy was one of the few people to have a stamp in her honor while she was living?
Oh.
Quite rare.
She worked hard to get a lot of people recognized, including us, she and I and Nancy Rubin Stewart, 3 Nancys, trying to get the Mercy Otis Warren stamp accepted. And it came close to it, but it didn't quite happen. Maybe we'll do it in honor of her sometime soon.
Oh,
Anybody else?
I'd just like to say, I think Nancy was an exceptional person in many, many ways, but remarkably enough, I don't know of anyone else. Maybe Nancy Shoemaker, you're the exception, or maybe there are 1 or 2 others, but she served as a member of the Barnstable Historical Commission for 20 years. That's a lot of time and a long time and a great set of devotion to historic preservation in our time. And I hope she's partly remembered for that as well.
Yeah, when I had asked for comments, a lot of members of this commission expressed how much they would miss her knowledge and wanted to help protect, obviously for your own, but for Nancy as well, the historical resources of the town in her memory. And I know she had a lot of knowledge. She taught me a lot of things this past year and a half. And I am so happy I was able to work with her and get to know her as much as I did.
That's nice.
The fact that Nancy continued with her interest, activity, and in great humor, even after her mobility was severely limited, is a testament to her spirit. She didn't let things deter her when she was determined to do something.
Yeah. Well, I guess we will continue with our meeting, but we can have more comments if we want at the end of our meeting too.
Madam Chair or Vice Chair, if I could say, I did not, and also Erica, I did not receive the motions. Are you able to send those to me? I got everything else.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll resend those to you.
Yeah, I was
That's on
trying
my
to reach you earlier. If you could, yes, please.
Well, we will start with our public hearings. And Erica, let me know if I'm doing something not right. So far, so good, I think. 1180, Cotuit Holdings LLC, 1180 Main Street, Cotuit, map 033, parcel 033, built 1853. This is a contributing structure within the Cotuit Historic District, and it's a partial demolition of the existing front stone driveway pillars. We did have this applicant come in, was it last month? I believe it was, right? And allowed the demolition of certain parts of the house for their changes in design somewhat. And a lot of that was towards restoration. This part we did not, so this is now a separate hearing. Do I have someone here who can speak to us and tell us? It may be again, but we would need to hear again what is proposed.
And can we also verify, Erica, was I at that meeting? Because I missed a couple meetings, just so for keeping open meeting law straight. So I'm not discussing or for something I wasn't at.
Yes, Cheryl, you were there. You
I thought
actually
I
made a
was.
motion to bifurcate the
Yep, I
item.
thought I was. I wanted to make sure because I know I missed a couple. Thank you for
Yeah, no
verifying.
problem.
No one is here from representing someone from 1180 Main Street, Cotuit? Well,
Okay, point of order, if you'd like, we can make a motion to move this application to the end of the meeting and
Yeah.
move on to the next application if we'd like.
I would so move that we do that. Any second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Do I need to do a roll call? I guess so. Okay. I didn't write my names all in order. Bob Frazee,
Aye.
Carol Powell,
Aye.
Marilyn Fifield,
Aye.
George Jessup,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
and I will vote aye also. So we'll move on to the next one, and that is John and Shelley Mattis. Am I saying that correctly? Mattes, 106 Wiano Avenue, Osterville, map 141, parcel 005, built 1990. And that's for the partial demolition, removing portions of the roof for a new gable dormer, removing portion of the rear wall for a door and windows. And do I have somebody here to represent John and Shelley Mattis, or the Mattis themselves?
Yeah, good afternoon. Steve Cook from Katuah Bay Design, representing the Mattis project. The project involves this house is next to the Lady of Assumption Church in Osterville. I think it was the former rectory for that church, and the Mattis purchased this property last year. So the two issues with the project is on the rear, just there's a deck on the rear, just changing out. There was some windows and a door and a window in the kitchen. So that was shown on the rear elevation on my plans. And then there was an unfinished attic with a set of stairs going up the attic. So the Mattis wanted to, finish that space off. As part of it, there wasn't enough headroom in the stairs, and the building department requested that we construct a dormer there to get proper headroom. The stairs are proper width and all that bit, but there wasn't enough headroom. So there is a single window dormer on the right side of the property. So now we're adding a dormer on the left side of the property for the width of the stairway, and just adding two windows in that match the single window on the right side of the property, right side of the building. So it's just a small dormer, and everything's going to match existing exterior elements and features.
So Steve, we don't have a before and after, but on the back of the house, you're adding windows. What we're seeing is the existing. Oh,
No, they went ahead. They performed that. So I added this in because they went and did that without the building department didn't refer them to your committee for the windows and doors. So I figured I'd just capture everything, make sure everything's up to
okay.
code here with you guys.
So we can't tell you don't do it.
Correct. Yeah. It's after the fact on that one. So yeah.
Steve, George Jessup here.
Hey, George.
Hello. Your dormer, is there a conflict with plumbing at that point as well?
No.
I thought I saw a vent pipe sticking out of the roof over the existing door right there.
Yeah, it's off to the right of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not going to affect your dormer.
No,
Okay.
that's actually on the rear. That vent pipe is on the rear.
Oh, I thought the dormer was on the rear.
Yeah. So
The dormer's on the side.
So that's okay, right side. Okay.
on that left elevation. So
Yeah, go ahead, Bob Frazee.
Bob Frazee, yes, I went and visited the house. I've been by it a million times in my life, and I know it well. And Nancy, when you were reading, it's actually 1900, not 1990, which I think we all knew anyway. But coincidentally, my wife and I, several years ago, when we were looking at homes, looked at a 1900 four square up Main Street in Osterville that was then under, it wasn't under agreement, it was being offered for sale. And we did an extensive tour of it, including its cavernous attic. And so I'm really familiar with what these folks have as challenges for how to get in and out of the attic space and how on earth to use it. And I'm very sympathetic to their application. My only point is, from an architectural point of view, aesthetically, one of the principal stylistic features with which this type of building identifies is the enormous roof. It's a huge feature of them. And to interrupt that is a little bit of a shame. This is for a good reason, and I'm not quibbling with that, but I'm wondering if it's absolutely necessary for this new dormer to exceed the size and height of the matching or not matching one, in this case, one on the other side. Is your headroom requirement one that requires it to be quite this tall? Could it possibly be scaled down a little bit so that its altitude and roof pitch are roughly the same as the one on the other side?
Unfortunately, no, because if you look at that's why I provided the attic plan. You see at that landing, there's a knee wall there. So when you come up
Okay,
the stairs to knee wall, it's maybe only like 48 inches high. And then I had to go higher to, put a couple windows in. Those are small windows. I think they're only 3 foot high by 30-inch wide windows each. And then
and your roof pitch does match. I noticed that.
Yeah.
Good for you for showing that. So in fact, that's probably, George, chime in if you want. I think that's probably more important than what I was getting at about the altitude of the roof over the dormer.
Yes.
Having the roof pitch match is more critical. So good for you guys.
Bob, how do you think it would look with a hip roof on that dormer? Do you think that would blunt the mass a bit?
If the hip were at the same angle as the main plane of the roof, possibly.
Well, I think it should be, yeah.
It would be a departure from, well, not from what's normally done with this type of building. There are plenty that would have a hip roof or even a pent roof, if you want to think of it that way. But I don't honestly have an objection to this as it's proposed. I just wanted to ask that one question in case there was a chance to diminish the scale slightly of the new dormer so it was a better match with the one that exists on the south side.
Yeah. The issue with the hip, and it's a good idea, George, is but the wall height off of the attic floor for the where the rafters sit is like 5 feet, maybe 5.5 feet, and the windows on the gable end stick up higher than the wall height. So, by about 6 or 8 inches, something like that. So to do a hip, I'd be cutting right across the windows, and it wouldn't match up with the dormer on the other side. So that's why I went with the gable roof to match everything.
Well, another compromise there would be a hammered gable.
Yeah, but then the trim line the fascia would cut still right across the window.
No,
Yeah.
it'd be well, a third of the way up the roof,
Yeah,
And then-
okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
and then hammer the top 2/3 of that gable end. And that would give you the height that you need for the windows, for the header. And it would also give you a reflection of the larger wing, which is also a hip roof.
Yeah.
So it's a way to integrate the dormer a little closer, to reduce the scale of it and still give you all the interior space that you require.
But when I just look at the front elevation, you see a fascia line cutting across for both dormers, so it matches up. So if I did the hammer there, wouldn't match up with the other gable on the other side from the street. So
I have to say, I agree with you, Steve. If you would have to bring in the new gable, that would be more of a difference between the two of them than what you're suggesting.
I agree.
I understand what
agree as
George
well.
is saying. Yeah. So,
I like to throw out ideas for your consideration.
yeah, no, I appreciate that. You have really good ideas, George.
Yeah, he does. Can
Usually,
Introduce the public to speak. Is there anybody here from the public? I think somebody's
I
waving.
think Shelley would like to say something. You can go ahead and unmute yourself, Shelley.
She's on mute.
You're
Still
muted,
muted.
Shelley. You need to unmute yourself.
Oh, hi.
Oh,
Can
there
you
we
hear
go.
me? Hi, sorry about that. Oh, yeah, I'm my husband and I are the owners and we have 2 daughters. So we're very happy. We've been coming to Osterville for 28 years. And my younger daughter, Margot, who is named after Margot's in town, was baptized at the church. So when this house came on the market, we rented right across the street and we were just thrilled. And we renewed our 25th vows in the church. So we're just happy to be in Osterville, and we have 2 girls and hopefully have a bigger family someday. So it would be great if we could do the attic. And Steve's done a great job with the architect architectural portion of it. So thank you, Steve.
Oh, you're
And it's
welcome.
nice to meet everyone. Hi, sorry, I'm actually, I had to come on really quickly. I'm actually at a store, so I apologize about the background.
That's fine.
Good job.
Yeah.
I came on right at the right time, didn't I? Yes, okay.
And any other public comments?
Vice Chair, this is Erica Brown. I do not see anyone wishing to speak to any items at this time.
Okay, do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close public hearing. Cheryl.
Second that.
All right, and I'll do the roll call again. Bob Frazee,
Yes. Aye. Sorry.
Cheryl Powell,
Yes.
Marilyn Fifield. Marilyn,
Yes.
Barbara DiBiase,
Yes to close.
George Jessup,
Yes.
and Nancy Shoemaker, yes. So public hearing is closed. And other comments by anyone on the commission or ready to go to vote? It's up to you all. Okay, if no one has other comments, does someone want to make a motion?
I'll do that if you like.
Sure. Thank you, Cheryl.
And Erica, thank you for sending this. I had the agenda, but not this. Mattis, John and Shelley, 106 Riano Avenue, Osterville, map 141, parcel 005, built 1900. Was there a correction on that, Bob?
Yes.
No, the 1900 is correct.
It is correct,
It
okay.
is correct. Yes.
With regard to a partial demolition, remove portions of the roof for new gable dormer and remove portions of the rear wall for door and windows. I move that after review and consideration of public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building at 106 Riano Avenue, Osterville is a perfectly preserved significant building.
A second.
Second.
Bob Frazee, second. All right, I will impose an 18-month delay and a nay will not impose an 18-month delay. So roll call, Marilyn Fifield,
Nay.
George Jessup,
Nay.
Cheryl Powell,
Nay.
Barbara DiBiase,
Nay.
Bob Frazee,
Nay.
and Nancy Shoemaker is voting nay.
All right, so I'll go on to the nay vote part of it. I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located at 106 Riano Avenue, Osterville is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
Second that.
And that's Bob Frazee seconding that. And I vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental. An I vote is voting that it is not detrimental. No demolition delay imposed. Okay, Marilyn Fifield.
Aye.
Okay, George Jessup,
Aye.
Cheryl Powell,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Also aye.
Robert Frazee,
Aye.
and Nancy Shoemaker, aye. So you are free, is it Shelley, right?
Mhm.
To do as you need to do with your house. Thank you.
Thank
very
you so much. Well, I hope to meet you guys.
Thank you. Enjoy
Thank
it.
you very much for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
everybody, and
Bye-bye.
nice to see you.
I'm gonna
and
head off.
Sorry,
Okay.
and sorry to hear
Thank
about
you.
Nancy Cox passing.
Hmm.
She was very, very nice to deal with and talk to, and what a very good wealth of knowledge too. So
Thank you, Steve. I think we're all kind of in shock. And again, what a beautiful thing to have been surprised considering she had such health conditions, but she was such a strong move ahead lady.
yes, she was. Yeah, definitely. All right, have a good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Steve.
Bye, Shelley.
Bye.
We move on to our next motion, and that is Denise Anderson, 77 Parker Road, Osterville, map 117, parcel 135, built 1872, inventoried. The partial demolition is demolishing the existing kitchen wing, existing rear elevation chimneys, and portions of the rear wall for new door openings and new area way to basement. Construct wood frame addition with covered porch and attached garage. Rebuild existing covered porch to match existing. Reuse of any good wood would be encouraged, apparently. Relocate existing garage on site. So can we hear from someone representing Denise Anderson or?
Yep. Good afternoon. My name is Walter Yarish. I've been an architect on the Cape for 38 years. I'm representing the Anderson family. Basically, our proposal is to add an addition to the existing structure at 77 Parker Road. The site is approximately 2 acres. The property currently has 2 buildings on it. One is the main house building, which was built in 1870. I think we had 1872, and then the kitchen addition was built in 1910. And then there's a major addition on the opposite side, which is built in 1968. Our objective pretty much is to preserve the existing building as is, including the garage. The garage building, which you're looking at right now, we would like to pretty much lift it in place, locate it a little bit further on another portion of the property, which we can look in a while on the site plan. That way there would keep it intact. We know there would be some good wood that will be coming out of some of the small demolition area that we would like to use back into this garage if it needs any more work. There's a lot of rotted areas. The section that we'd like to remove is an L portion of the kitchen. The house original house, if you look at it, was built as one small box in the middle section. And then to the right of that off of Parker Road, that is the area that we're talking about right there on that photo. If you hold that photo up, you'll notice what's interesting. There's all different types of windows. They're all different type of heights. It's almost as if they used leftover wood after the 1872 edition when they built the 1910, this wing on the kitchen. And whatever they had, they put into this building, because when you actually go out there, it's all over the place. The whole lower portion of this doesn't even have any structural system, believe it or not. It has studs that like 7 feet on center, and then it has planking and shingles that went across it. So there really is no walls on the underside of that. The structural integrity of this building is a little bit questionable underneath. That's one of the chimneys. Those are the 2 chimneys. There's one chimney right here that we would, it's actually leaning off the house. It's about 3/4 of an inch separated from the building. And the chimney to the left of that, as you can see right to the base of the tree, the exact same thing is happening there. In our new addition, which we'll get to in a minute, we're going to actually build 2 new chimneys. One of the wishes, if we can use some of the bricks on these, would be great to use, in the new wing portion of the addition. If you can go back a picture to page 4. This portion of the house, we're pretty much keeping intact. You can see the kitchen wing that sticks out on the left-hand side past the end of the screen and porch. And you can see what they did there. They actually designed it in such a way that they came up with a roof line that has nothing to do with the rest of the structure and kind of tucked it in there, like added it to that side. And I guess in those days, that's the way they did it. That front porch, one of the requests that we had was, it's actually pulling away from the house. It was built not really tied into the house, but added onto the house. And the whole lower framing system of the actual deck of the porch is completely rotted. It's sitting right on the ground. So our intent is to rebuild that exactly in the position, the shape. We have all the details. We did as-built dimensions of every portion of it and build it back exactly the way it is, new, and connect it back onto the house that's there. That is some of the area. There was some of the lumber that if we need it, we're going to actually, if it's good enough, we'll reuse it in the porch. It's a cathedral ceiling on the inside. It's very nice. It's a great spot. The Anderson family, who I guess has owned this house from the beginning of time, It's only been sold once for a short period of time to someone else, and then they actually bought it back a long time ago. And there's been generation that has lived in this, and they want to keep going that way. And that's what started the addition that you will see that we're going to build up against this. If you look at the elevations on the existing, which are coming up, that will stay intact. That is looking from the street elevation directly at it. The right-hand side was the addition that was built in 1968. You can't see the addition that was built in 1910 because it's on the back side.
Mhm.
You can see it in the shaded area on the left elevation on that corner. In the new design addition, we will engulf that area with the portion of where the new kitchen of the addition will go on the house. This is the back elevation of the existing structure that exists now. I guess they did the best they could at the time to try to fit this in. It has some water problems underneath, and you can see it's actually built into the ground on that side. And everything that's not shaded obviously will remain intact. All the details, some of the details in the 1968 edition they're not exactly the same as in the 1872 original house, which we weren't going to do many. It's more on the overhangs of that rear elevation. But in the new concept, the new design of our project, we're going to use all the detailing, overhangs, soffits, and fascia board designs from the 1872 original house. If we could go to probably the exterior renderings, which would be we could do that, it'd be quicker to look first, and then we can go back to the elevations, which is 16. Yeah. So basically, you can see the original house on the right-hand side. Our intent is to move the new addition is going to come back off the wing of the existing screened-in porch, which is on that corner here. It's actually set back. The original house is 23 feet off the street now. The addition, it will be 65 feet off the street. So it's actually pushed much further back. The same roof lines, roof structures, windows, roof pitches, details, columns, sections were all taken off the original structure, so that when all is completely done, it'll look like it was one house that was built, which had additions onto it, like many of the old structures are along the Cape as you go. There is one chimney missing. It's actually, you'll see it on the other next drawing plan. It's actually in the back, hidden around the corner. This is the elevation of go back one, please. This is the elevation of the existing house coming off of Parker Road. The 3-window hip roof and the gable to the right of it was the addition that was built in 1968. All the building to the left of it was the original building. And you can't really see where the kitchen was on this back elevation. This would show where the addition would be attached to it on the back section, and the area in the backyard that has an opening underneath it is actually a screened-in porch.
Right.
This is looking at the back where if you go up that little staircase in the back, that is actually the shape of the existing kitchen plan. We kept that shape and size and used that, but had to build it new because of how these structures came together. And that would be actually where the addition continues around and then comes on towards the main structure. And what's happening is the kitchen now is in the main structure on that corner, and which we can look on the floor plan. And then the area that's in here is family room space and bedrooms, and that would be used for the grandchildren. The families have grown over all these years, and what they're trying to do is bring everyone down for the summer. And instead of coming down in different families at different weeks, they want to bring them all in together. So That was the objective of doing all this. If we go back to the elevations, yeah. So that's what it would look like from Parker Road. The screened-in porch, we brought a porch along the new addition all the way across the front to match. The new entrance right now is in the center of the whole building. The veneer brick chimney, we will try to use some of the bricks from the original. We don't know what shapes they're all going to be in. There's a second brick chimney on the left-hand side. And then on the far left-hand side, we have the 3-car garage. And if you go to the next elevation, that is the elevation on the left-hand elevation. If you're looking from Parker Road, you really wouldn't see it. It'll be around your left-hand side. And then to the right of that is the existing structure with the screened-in porch. This would be the other elevation that we looked at where the stairs comes up, and you can see where the old kitchen area was in that footprint. And that's just being reconstructed because of pretty much the structural integrity. If we could have used it, we would have used it. I've been doing this for a long time on the Cape here, and we try to save everything we possibly can. I love the Cape. It's something we've been doing for a long time. So this was a great project for us. It was great family to work with, and they really wanted to try to do something that would keep what they have and keep the memories that they had growing up there. The back is a walkout screened-in porch that's underneath. There's a small area that you'll come in from a walkout on the back side because the grade does drop off to the back pretty dramatically. The colors will be the same, the roof will be the same. And when I say the same, they're actually going to match the 1872 building. If you go to the site plan or the floor plan, I think there's a floor plan in there, which is 15. Yeah, so this will give you a summary of where we're at. It's interesting. When I looked at this, it looks like, oh, wow, there's a giant addition. And the front of the existing house on Parker Road is actually 3 feet longer than the middle section of the addition that we built on it, not counting the garage. And but the key was to make it look like it's all one area. Right now, the access coming off of Parker Road, there's some really big trees on the front of this. And we actually kept them all. We didn't want to take anything down. We wanted to try to work around basically what we had. This will be a lot easier for them to come and go in and around the property because when you pull in there now, it's really, really difficult to get back out of there, the property, because it actually goes downhill. This will level the property in the front, which would be equal to the front area where the sidewalk is. So when you look across now, it's going to be level elevation. And then if you go to the site plan, which I think is number 9. You can see the existing relocated garage on the left-hand side, which they want to use as a little studio and maintain it as it was built. It's difficult because it was, from an architect's point of view, you try to preserve all this. From a financial point of view, it'll cost probably twice as much to move this and keep it over there than it would to build it new. But it's something they really want to do. I guess they have a lot of memories that were in there, and same thing with the original house. So they really don't want to take anything away. So that's pretty much the scope. It's what we were trying to do. Open to any questions anybody may have.
Any questions, commissioners? Yes, Bob?
I
Freezy?
have a couple and an observation or two. I know this house really well from driving by for the last 55 years, if not daily, some years daily. And I love it. And it's kind of ironic because within the last year going by with my wife she and I, whichever one of us it was, would speak up first and say how amazing and wonderful and remarkable, especially in the Osterville environment over the last few decades, that it was still there at all, and that it was still there in pretty much the same way we had known it all of those 50 years. And so I wasn't thrilled at first, bear with me, when I saw this coming before us. And I made a special point of driving over there and driving around and thinking about it. And I spent over an hour looking at these plans. And honestly, I don't think I could be more enthusiastic in support of them if I had to be. So I really think this is a really thoughtful job. At first, the elevation drawings scared me because it wasn't clear to me how much front to back setback there was. It was hard to compare the plan view with the elevation view. And I was nervous that it was not going to have enough front to back three-dimensional variation in the finished, and it does clearly. Thank you, Erica, for putting that up, in the finished product to continue to kind of celebrate the original building. I thought that the original building would be just completely overwhelmed by this, and I don't think it is. I really don't. I have two questions. One of them, and this is a great view to start with, one of them is about whether it might be any appropriate way to think of interrupting the very long, and it's the only one there is, roof line that extends from the new central homestead, if you will, over to the garage on the left. It's just a little bit disproportionately long compared with any other roof line on the assembly of structures.
Yeah.
And that's one. And the other question I have is kind of similar. I have a thing about long blank spaces and long blank lines that they, especially on older properties, they drive me a little bonkers. On the right elevation of the property, and any place where there you go, where the building is kind of having, perfect. Thank you, Erica. Having to accommodate the topographical descent of the property into a lower elevation. You start to have to deal with increasing amounts of vertical blank space. And in some ways, the older building dealt with that in sort of the hodgepodge that referred to of odd windows and odd doors and structural integrity things made happening because of bizarre decisions made a long time ago. And I'm not encouraging anything like that, but I'm wondering if there's a way to break up some of the blank space, particularly immediately to the left or uphill of where the screened-in porch will be, the one in the back.
Yeah, we can do that. We can, that's actually basement space underneath there, so we could add windows on that.
I don't, others may not agree with me, but.
Not a problem at all. We can add windows across that. We can actually do some trim work too, where that rake comes down on the corner. Yeah, we could clean that up. That's actually a good point.
I mean, those are the only things that occurred to me, honestly, and I'll be quiet and let the other commissioners speak. And they may not agree with me, but I think it's a great job. And thank you.
I have a question also, if I may do, and if everyone doesn't mind if I speak up right away. Can you go around to the other side again with the three-car garage? I agree with, yeah, that the drawing probably would be best. Yeah, that one. I agree with Bob. At first I was like, oh my God, but the setback is quite large, which is wonderful. And I agree with his suggesting that roof line be changed, but also I'm wondering, it's a bit busy with all these different roofs going on here in different ways. Any chance the three-car garage could be all three, one longer roof? And I don't think it would look any different and larger from the front. Now, I don't know, is there a road on the side to the left where people would see something that looks like too big a barn? Is that why you cut it down for the third car?
We had it originally where the three-car garage actually came all the way out and the lower gable from the one bay was not there. And it looked so high on that side that it took away from the original house, because the original house breaks it up by having a porch come across. We could actually put a hip roof on that to try to tone it down. It's actually the closest point to the street, not counting the original house. So the garage itself and the new addition is the closest portion of the street, and we were just trying to cut it down somehow. That second gable is actually set back about 14 feet from the front. So, I mean, if the board would rather see that full all the way forward to the front, I mean, that just gives them more room in this area above the garage, and we can do that. I just thought it might look better if it was broken up and the scale came back down. I don't love ending buildings with a really tall gable. And if you go around to the actual architectural elevation on that left side, it's, yeah, one more. Yeah, it's right there. So what it does on that elevation, and you do see that when you come up Parker Road, what it does is it takes that whole garage wing and makes it look like there's a 2-car garage in the middle, and then there's a smaller storage building to the front right of that, and then the focus is not on this big 3-car garage on that side. And I mean, on one elevation, this elevation wouldn't work as well if you continue that roof all the way out and went straight down and added another garage, because you'd have to revise that dormer and make that bigger, and massing is not something I would like to add to the end of this. So that's basically where we came up. We could hip that, though. There are a lot of hips on this project.
This is Cheryl. I actually agree with the representative for the applicant, because I assumed that why you did split it is because you didn't want it to detract, because it makes that end roof so much higher and blocks off all the good stuff that can't see then. And I think it then does become too big. So I personally like that. Unless one of the things I can think of is maybe on the, can you go back to that one where it shows the split roof? Is that possible? The first one you're looking? Yes. So, good go. Only thing, oh no, you already have a chimney there. Sorry. That, I was thinking maybe a cupola, but the cupola would then clash with the chimney. I wasn't paying attention to that part. Never mind.
Yeah, there is another chimney to the left of that off the gable end. It just, for some reason in this rendering, I don't know how it didn't show up, but it's right about where she just put her arrow up in that back section. It's to the right of that, actually, on where the gable is.
So, excuse me, that might
I
actually
agree
break
with
the roof line.
Yeah, I agree
It
with
would.
you all on the length of that. We struggled with that. It's an area where the staircase comes up through there.
Yeah.
We try to make it as shallow as possible. We actually put a dormer up there one time, but it got to be too much dormer. I don't know if a false chimney up there would work.
Yeah.
With having the cupola over the garage and then the main center chimney brick up through the middle, and then there is a chimney on that left-hand side.
Yeah, there's a chimney on the left-hand side. Can I ask you a question? Underneath that roof, is there attic there to save me going through it, or is that, you said there's a stairway coming?
Yeah, the stairway and the whole second floor is up in that section. So you actually walk up a staircase into that area, and there's a dormer on the back side of that, which is an area that walks up into the 2 bedrooms that are over the middle section.
So is that, and what I'm getting at is that roof line above the stairway, or is it above one of the rooms? In other words,
It's center line above the stairway.
what could you, my thought is maybe make it a feature and have the above at the top of the stairway, some sort of cupola or something that goes out, which would break up that roof line. I just question if it'd be too much with the other chimney there, but I think if it broke up that roof line, it would give it a nice historical feature.
Yeah,
That's my thought. And connect it also to the stairway.
yeah, I was trying to keep it simple. One other option that we looked at is, you see, in looking at that elevation that we're looking at right now, where the dormer comes off the left-hand side, was to repeat a dormer on the right-hand side. So that it matched on that roof coming the other way, and then it would shorten up that ridge line across. So over the garage, which is on the left, right there, that dormer, continue that dormer through the cupola and build one right in that side also. And it would die into the roof line. The roof line would be up there. It would have a little false rake on the front like it does on the left-hand side of this. But it would narrow that roof line back to one more manageable. What hurts this roof line, the length of it is extended because there is no dormer on the right-hand side of that garage.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we put the dormer and falsify it, which we have no problem doing, then it would make that wing look more solid, I guess. I mean, the only other option we would have is we could redesign that wing, but if we do, what happens is the front porch, which has a hip on that corner on the left-hand side of the front porch,
Yeah.
that little line there between that and the garage got too narrow. And then all of a sudden you ran into the garage.
Yeah.
If I cut that back 3 or 4 feet to make the top line less, then that doesn't get wide enough and it jams into the double hip that's on that corner.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. I was just thinking about how to handle those, the split roof on the left-hand side. I do think that bringing it all the way out would overwhelm the rest of the project because it would stand out. And it puts the beautiful house back in the background. But
Right.
somehow breaking up that roof line might make a difference. Also, what I would probably do, to be honest, is I can't bring it up on here, is put like you see how the columns are around the right and the center part, maybe put it a little bit around the end of that left part, which brings that those columns out a little bit, but then you have to have a roof for it, so maybe not. I wouldn't want to see the higher roof come all the way out. But that's my own personal opinion.
Okay.
Other
We looked at a dormer up there. It took away from the front.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
it got too busy.
Yeah,
It's a tough house. I mean, there's no
it's a
doubt
tough
about it.
house.
And when
It's a
you try
beautiful
to use
house.
everything that from the existing, it handcuffs us a little bit, but I think in the end it worked pretty well. I mean, maybe if you can picture the dormer over the garage coming over the right-hand side, and it doesn't have to go to the end, right in there. It would have a fascia that comes off of it. It would die down in it, and then that roof would actually die into the side of it.
Yeah, I think it would look awkward, to be honest. That's my opinion. It would look unbalanced. But
So I'm the character that brought up the question of the long roof line. I want to say, Walter, I'm impressed at the amount of thought that went into what's there that we're looking at to begin with. And I appreciate your explanations. I kind of suspected there was a stairway underneath all of that.
Yeah.
And it almost had to be. It's not like I have a big objection to it. It just seemed a little out of sync with some of the other relationships of proportions and lines in the rest of it. But, you know, the necessity is the mother of invention. Sometimes it's explainable in terms of the function of what's inside. So sometimes
Maybe I can get them to plant a giant tree in front of it.
Well, I'm happy that the real nice trees that are there are staying. That's a big part of this property.
just if you imagine it going up a stairway and you have this above you, it kind of brings light into that stairway as well. But then it also prevents you from putting a chandelier there or something also.
Well, yeah, they're not chandelier people.
Oh,
Yeah.
they might,
Got
like,
it.
yeah.
I bet they're going to keep
other
the
board
little,
members, comments? Yeah, go ahead. Bob, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I bet they're going to keep the little wooden wheelbarrow in the picture too. I'm saying it as a joke, but not entirely. The character of the place is pretty remarkable.
Hmm.
One of
George?
the smaller garage is more like a boat shed than a garage, and I think it's nice that it's a smaller addition to the central mass. And the only other option with this would be a shed roof on it instead of the gable,
Right.
which I've seen in some instances. I'm not sure that that would be an improvement on this particular structure. I like the way it works now. There's an awful lot of areas where landscaping makes a big difference in blank spaces and where outside corners get more emphasis by central massing of landscaping. For instance, in that boat addition, the middle of the wall, some landscaping there detracts or draws your attention away from the massing. But it's reduced massing. I like the proportions there. For that central ridge, I don't know what's on the back side of it. Can we see what's on the back side of that long ridge we've been discussing? Is there a shed dormer that runs all the way across? Oh, there is a shed dormer on the back side of it.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's an important element. So the large roof on the front is explained by that.
One of the challenges we had, and not to interrupt you, George, but one of the challenges we had was we were trying to keep the configuration and height based off the original structure. And you can see it on this back elevation. It's not much higher at all. So we ended up with the original structure has really short, eave heights, and all the rooms, some of the rooms are like barely you can walk in there and what have you. And we said, oh, well, this will be interesting. So we try to work with that on the new structure to keep the proportions equal.
Clipping the ceiling so that the center section of the room is higher is an option as well.
Yeah.
Erica, could you move the picture over to your left a little more so we can see where the other way? Yeah, move the picture to the left so we can see what's on the right. Okay. All right, I just wanted to see where the cupola actually, the side picture looked like the cupola was at roof was at one level, but anyway, you have me sold too. I think it was a good question to ask, but I agree in the long run that best to keep the third bay at a different size.
I'm pretty impressed because that question came up here many times on that length.
Mm.
It was frustrating for us and we couldn't find a perfect solution. And, we'll take another look at it. And if we
Want to keep the scale down though, and that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Barbara, do you have any comments or who else hasn't talked? Marilyn?
No, thank you.
Yeah. Marilyn, no. Barbara, are you muted? I'm not hearing from Barbara. I don't want to cut her off if. Yeah, Barbara, you're still muted. Looks like you're trying to fix whatever it is. Well, why don't we open it up to the public? Do we have anybody here from public with comments? Erica, you see anybody?
Vice Chair, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone wishing to speak to this item at this time. I do have a letter of support that was submitted from a neighbor. Did everyone get a chance to read that?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I just want to make sure everyone got a chance to read it.
Right. We could close the public hearing, but I'd also, maybe Barbara, did you want to say something?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
All right. Any motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, so motioned.
Al has done that and seconded by
Second. Well,
Bob Frazee. Okay.
That's right. Bob and I are doing an in tandem thing tonight.
sorry about that.
No, don't apologize. It's fine. It's fine.
Any other comments before we do a motion?
Do we not have to, do we have to take a vote on the closing public comment?
We do. Okay.
Sorry for interfering.
No, that's good. So I have a motion to close the public comment and it's been seconded. So I'm going to take a vote and I'll start first with Marilyn Fifield,
Aye.
George Jessup,
Aye.
Carol Powell,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
and Robert Frazee.
Aye.
And Nancy Shoemaker, aye. So I will entertain a motion.
I'll do it if nobody else wants to.
Go.
Anderson Denise M. Trust, 77 Parker Road, Osterville, map 117, parcel 135, built 1872, inventoried. Partial demolish existing kitchen wing, existing rear elevation chimneys and portions of the rear wall for new door openings and new areaway to basement. Construct wood frame addition with covered porch and attached garage. Rebuild existing covered porch to match existing, reuse any good wood, relocate existing garage on site. And before it goes to a second, I just want to ask the vice chair for a clarification. Anybody else? Did we want to add anything about the roof, or are we leaving this straight and then let it carry and see how it goes?
I don't think we had any proposal for change.
Yeah,
There were some suggestions.
Well,
So,
I-
I'm sorry.
I would suggest leaving it as,
Okay.
as proposed. I don't believe there's a risk to the applicant for that, but that's just my opinion.
It's my opinion as well. It's just there's been a bit of going back and forth. I wanted to make sure that we're leaving that as is. So I move that after review and considerations of public testimony, the application, associated materials, the significant building 77 Parker Road, Osterville is a preferably preserved significant building.
We have a second.
Second, George Jessup.
Jessup is giving us a second. Okay, so our voting will be such that if you do aye, you will impose an 18-month delay. Nay will not impose an 18-month delay. Okay, Bob Frazee,
Nay.
Barbara DiBiase,
Nay.
Cheryl Powell,
And
George Jessup,
Nay.
Marilyn Fifield,
Nay.
Nancy Shoemaker votes nay also. So moving on, Cheryl,
so, yep, I got it. Just had to bring it up on my screen so it's a little bigger. I move that I move in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historic Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located at 77 Parker Road, Osterville is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage or resources of the town.
Second?
Bob Frazee seconds. So an aye vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental. No demolition delay imposed. And we'll start a roll call with Bob Frazee,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Cheryl Powell,
Aye.
George Jessup,
Aye.
Marilyn Fifield,
Aye.
and I, Nancy Shoemaker, vote aye. So you are free to continue with your plans on the building at 77 Parker Road in Osterville.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I appreciate your comments. We'll see what we can do if we can come up with a better chance to change that, but thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Nice job.
We're open to suggestion. That's nice.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're moving on to our fourth. It's actually only our third because we didn't hear from the first applicant. And that is Mark. I'm going to,
Susan.
as Nancy would say, I'm going to ruin the last name.
It's Korzuzian.
Kozizian. Okay, great, thank you. And that's Cindy here talking to us at 649 Scudder Avenue, Hyannis. Let me just switch to my other papers here. Sorry. And that is at 649 Scudder Avenue, Hyannis, map 287, parcel 050, built in 1908. Partial demolition. Demolished the existing sunroom, two-story addition on the left side, multiple additions on the rear and existing chimneys, plus lift original circa 1850 structure to excavate for new foundation. Front, right, left, and rear elevation changes to include additions and updates to windows, doors, trim, siding, and repair of any rotted materials. Do we have someone here to speak of this project?
Yes, hi, my name is Jim Haggerty from Reef Builders, representing Mark and Cindy Gazozian. They are both here on the meeting as well. So what we have is a home that has been added on to over the years, but we feel that the main structure, the main Greek Revival section of the home, this main gabled piece here, is about 1850. Now we've been working with Sarah Korjev over at the, she's the historic preservation specialist at the Cape Cod Commission, because we are in the Hyannisport National Register of Historic Places. And so that was something that she feels was the date of the main structure. And then there's been added on, scabbed on, I like to call them additions, because they just did whatever they felt like doing, it seems. By the look at some of the additions, you can see here on the right side is the existing sunroom with that shed roof, not incredibly attractive. That is one of the sections we're talking about removing. On the opposite end, on the left, you can see in the background there on this photograph that that had been added on as well. We feel is also this unusual dormer on top of it. So that section, which sets back about 15 feet or so from the main facade, we're going to remove that also. And if on the back, there's a whole smattering of additions and so forth that have been put on. And so we're proposing to, let me help here, Erica. It's, why don't you look at sheet A5.
Yeah.
Well, just before that, here we go. So you can kind of see in the back here, from left to right, this unusual, they did like a kitchen addition back here once upon a time, and then another addition with that first gable to the right of that, this unusual dormer above that, this little screen porch. If you look at the photograph, you'll see it a little better, with this kind of flat metal roof up there. And then the balance of it, I believe, was original, the main gable that pulls through from the front of the house, which is what we're proposing to keep. So there's the main portion of the house, which is basically a rectangle that covers that main gable in the front, along with the section of the main box to the left. The facade is straight across. There are no reveals in elevation across that main section. Let me see if I covered everything there. We're also, what has happened to this house over the years is not much, kind of been neglected quite a bit. And both on the inside and the outside, let's start with the outside. The house is covered with aluminum siding. All that trim has been covered with aluminum. So we don't know exactly what's underneath it, but in that era of architecture, we believe we know what will be under there if this matches other homes of similar characteristics. And so we're going to obviously take all that stuff off and bring it back to what we originally had for profiles and details of all that trim underneath those on the gable rakes and eaves and so forth, corner boards and such. As well on the inside, if you were able to go in, the floor in the center, it's probably dropped, I'd say close to 6 inches. So the whole floor pitches down to the middle of the building. So it's in pretty rough shape on the inside. This has affected as well the chimneys. As you can imagine, as this whole thing is settled, there's not much there but dirt underneath it and maybe enough room to crawl around in there. So that's all settled down. So that's part of why we're proposing to remove the chimneys. Okay. So if you want to look at the front elevation, page A2.
I'll bet you find board and batten siding under that aluminum.
Oh, I don't know what, yeah, I don't know what we're gonna find. There's a little
Shingle
piece,
style.
there's a little piece missing down by the front door here. And it looks as if there is some clapboard under there, covered in about 5 coats of paint. So what will, here, I'll continue through here first. So of course, move all that, the vinyl siding, the aluminum siding, that's how old it is, right? All aluminum wrap trim, and then we'll use all the profiles that are underneath that. We'll either, if it's in good shape, we'll clean it up and reuse it. If it's not, or rotted, which is the likelihood since it's been covered for so long and captures water and moisture, then we will replace what's there with the profiles of the existing moldings. It has simple vinyl shingles right now, just kind of screwed to the building. Those will all come off. We're going to use authentic active shutters, right, with the hinge pins and hold downs. So that'll be another attractive feature to it. The house will remain white, where all the clapboard is shown here on the front. Here's a rendering of what we're going to do. The windows are already been replaced at one point. We found an older photograph of the home where it just has 2/2 grill patterns in it, mutton patterns. And you'll see, if you rolled up a little, Erica, you'll see what we have currently. I guess to the next page. Yeah. So you got some 6/6 windows with storms on it and so forth. So we're proposing to replace the windows across the front. And with some Anderson 400 series windows with the simulated divided lights, so applied exterior, applied interior with the spacer bar on all of those windows of the same exact size that's there now. The one modification that we are making on the front would be, and we found another historic picture, the same one that I just spoke of, about the replacement windows with the 2/2 mutton pattern. There was a farmer's porch across the whole front of this house with a very unique, there was a knee wall to it and a very unique pattern, almost like a lattice pattern around the openings of the screens. It was, openings around the screens. And you can see through on the other side that bay window was not original to the structure. You can see it dashed in there. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and Sarah also agreed that it was. She could tell that it was not. It seems as if it was not part of the original structure. Also, so we're proposing to remove that and put a window in place, a single window that'll be centered between the door and the corner board that matches the rest of the windows on that facade. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
The window in the dormer above that, you can see right now, is a very unusual, it's actually a sashed window. It's just about, 4.5 feet long, 5 feet long. It's quite unusual. So we are proposing to use 2 like awning windows. You can see right here. Of equal size of the sash of the double hung windows, all right, with the same grill pattern in those.
Mm-hmm.
So the doors right now, the doors are the main door and this door, I believe, is the main door is a 4-panel door. This one here, the one to the left side of the house. Yep.
Yeah.
And we're going to replace that with a new one. It's just a mess. Door thresholds off. You can hardly open the thing. And then we'll follow along with what's there now for the trim. Unless we open it up and find something really unique. I don't anticipate that. But that's our proposal, is to put a new 4-panel door there and match it with the other door that is currently on that side entrance there to the
You have side lights on that main door?
It's not shown. If you look at the photograph, Erica's first page.
No.
Yeah, everything's filled in or covered up. Really hard to tell if they were broken out or what happened there.
Actually, Jim, I can tell you, I grew up in that house, not there in West Harwich, but the house is 1850 to 55, very
Yeah,
definitely.
okay, good. Yep, that's what we anticipate.
And there were lights on either side of that front door. They are still on the house that I grew up in. I just am so happy that you're changing things back to the way they were. I wonder if the front door was really off to the side like that, so that
There would have been a staircase right behind it.
There is, yeah.
no, I mean to the side, but it would show the trim on the side of the house and then the door in its frame starting.
Yeah, I've seen it, in different areas. There's some, our companies here in West Dennis, and there's many of them around here. And they have very similar detail with that the window trim, the door casing and headpiece do intersect that corner board.
Okay, it would be a lot of work to move it, and I wouldn't want you to have to do that. You'd have to move the windows, but boy, I can't, this is a nice old sea captain's house, absolutely.
It is.
Yeah. And so we're excited to be able to, again, put the foundation under it, straighten out the floors. This thing will last for another, 250 years. So.
And the depth of the cornice on the left-hand side should be matched on the right-hand side where the wing is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the older photographs, we can't see exactly what's there due to.
But it should start
the
where the
picture of the farmer's porch.
where the gable return would be. The frieze board.
Mhm.
The left-hand side is a specific depth. The one on the right doesn't appear to be quite as deep, and it should match it on that right-hand side. So if you're going to have to redo that because it's presently covered with aluminum and is probably rotted, that should be increased in depth to match, especially since you're going to take off that bay. So it would add a little more interest to that.
In the height of it, yeah. Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also want to kind of treat that door as not as prominent, right? So people.
Well, it's a secondary entrance,
Yeah,
yes.
to the front door, we kind of soften that side entrance, let's call it, because the driveway, unfortunately, is on the right side of the property. So the path of least resistance for someone to walk into the house is that door. So we're going to try to kind of be between some landscaping and the architectural feature of the trim, kind of make people head towards that door to the left, it's called the main front door.
Well, the primary front door on the left-hand side there would have been used twice a year.
Yeah, Halloween.
That would have been used at Christmas time for the guests coming to the Christmas party. And that's wide enough to carry out the casket after a wake in the living room. And my grandfather's house was built that way, and he was waked from that living room. So they were quite happy he'd put a 3.5-foot wide door on the front of the house.
One other thing we're going to do here on the left side, the main corner board, you see as they did the aluminum siding, you might be able to see it a little better on my drawings. If you scroll, I guess we'll scroll up, you'll see it in the 2D drawing. Just to the left of that bay window there. Excuse me, the right, sorry. Right of the bay window. They just have a regular corner board right now, a 1x6 wrapped in aluminum. From what I've seen with other homes again in the area, that corner board would mirror what is on the left side of the building. So we're going to propose to repair and replace that corner board to coordinate with what would have originally been there. Okay.
Mr. Haggerty, is there a garage on the property?
There's not. Oh, there is a little tiny one. Yeah, there's a little one down in the back. It's not attached or anything.
That would have been a pony garage.
Yeah, I don't know the age of that one. But so that's the front facade. I think I've captured everything there. If we can go to the right side. There we go. And you can see that's that shed roofed sunroom that we're going to pull off. You see the two windows above that. We are going to replace or rebuild the sunroom, as you can see here. with a much more, detailed area. We're trying to get as much pitch as we can out of that gable. So what we've done, one of the windows would sit right next to it, is do a single window in that gable, which will be in one of the bedrooms, and infill that little square window that's over. It was placed at one point over in the left corner. If you go back to the page before, you'll see that in the photograph. See that small window on the left, clipped. So we will infill that, and then put one window in the center versus the two here in the gable. That'll give us the opportunity to get a pitch out of this roof and not. I'm sure that's why they did the shed roof over that sunroom now.
And that window could be offset towards the rear, so that you could get a greater pitch on that sunroom.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, I'm trying to. I like the centering with the ridge, so that's why we tried to kind of keep it centered, as it would. Batch would say the front gable with the single window. Those windows.
It would depend upon. It would really. Excuse me. It would depend upon how that affects the wall on the inside, so that you had a solid bed wall, rather than have the window split the room. So
yeah, we've rearranged it a little bit in there, and so it does work out well. We can get a bed in there. It works out okay. And this is our egress window, because remember that window in the front is that unusual that small window in the dormer in the front. So
yeah, it's not big enough.
Yeah, this is the egress window. So that's part of the equation here too. And then the balance of things here to the right are the new side entrance. So again, the driveway comes in on this end. So that would be the family entrance into the home. And then we balance windows to the left, to the right side, left and right of what it was in the fireplace. This way you can see. Yeah, there we go.
So you have a gas fireplace in there.
Yeah, that's what that is there. The big gas fireplace right there. See that? Put it through the roof. We don't want to do it. We didn't want to bring it through the roof. So
what are you using for siding?
So on the front will be all the clapboards painted white. All the balance of it will be natural cedar shingles.
Will you have your gas vent cautionary blowback from those? Will set your siding on fire. So
yeah, we'll try to. We'll set those up. Well, it's all going to be, a lot of it's going to be electric these days. That's kind of what we're moving to, electric, all electric heat. So we're not going to have too many of them. But yeah, with the balance of them would be just gas flues, which are, fairly, not a lot of hot air coming out of them so much. And the roof is all going to be red cedar roof, copper flashing, copper drip edge. Rolling the gutters around. So I think that'll be a nice addition to it as well.
All right. We should probably ask, because we haven't yet, correct? For public to.
No, I was going to, if you don't mind, continue with my little narrative or
Probably speed it up a little because it's.
There's a lot going on. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. So, so on the back, we have the two gabled rooms. All right, one's a family room. See here with the three windows. Again, bringing in some of those same eave details and cornerboard details around the home. Screen porch in the center. And then the other triple window space here under the gable is a bedroom. Again, trying to bring in those cornerboards. Up above, we're rethinking the windows up in there. Just due to the roof lines of the porch and so forth. So we're centering some windows here. These are either bath or accessory windows to bedrooms. But we felt that it does kind of brings that all together. On the left, on the left side, this tall section here is the piece we're removing. And then we're going to rebuild something similar. With the eaves will align with the main eaves of the front gable, right? And keep that same eave detail, cornerboards, center two windows right through it. I think it's not too far off from where this probably started. and getting rid of those unusual gables there, dormers that were on that small section. And then, then this piece to the left of the gable we're reconstructing, that is just the side of a bedroom here. That's the existing stuff we're getting rid of. And then, right there. So that's a new section there that we're adding as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, I believe, everything that we're changing on the building. Be happy to answer any questions.
Guys, start the public meeting. We can always discuss after, or would anyone here want to ask a few questions first?
I thought it was very comprehensive.
Yeah.
I have just one comment, and that is that that era of house would have been clapboard all the way around. What I'm sure it'll look nice the way it is, but that would be nice if at least the two sides were in clapboard. But we will open the public hearing. Is there anybody here who would like to speak?
Vice Chair, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone wishing to speak to this item at this time.
All right, so we will vote.
Entertain a motion to close
Have a
the public.
motion.
I'll second that.
George and Cheryl, thank you. Okay, so we will take a vote, and we'll start with Marilyn Fifield,
Aye.
Cheryl Powell,
Aye.
George Jessup,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and Nancy Shoemaker votes aye also. So back to other comments, suggestions, anything from the board, from the commission? No?
I just wanted to comment. I drove around and looked at the house, and I also thought about the structure. I'm really, really happy that the left-hand elevation is retaining the verticality of the wing, even though you're going to rebuild it from scratch. I know, I'm happy to see that, because in the architectural language of the 1850 structure, you have two additions on it that I think are pretty close to 1850 as well. That left end is one, and there's one in the back. And so the original house had the high pitch, high peak kind of vertical look to it from an overall aesthetic. And I think everything you're doing on the facade and the left elevation and pretty much the right elevation honor that. And I think in the back of the building, I couldn't see any way you could possibly honor that and get what the results you wanted. And I was prepared to say that's a problem for me, but it really isn't. At some point practicality has to creep in, and it's much, much more organized. More orderly and organized and sensible than it was in its assemblage of kind of chaotic things. The only thing I still don't much like about the look of the facade, and I don't think you can cure it, is the dormer on the right-hand roof. That's your 1909 or 1908 addition item that was in the debatable dates originally, I can promise you. And a couple of the other dormers on the wing you're going to change.
Yeah.
I don't think there's another way to shape that and still get the result you need, but if there were, it would be a minor miracle.
That right-hand side with its dormer, but that whole section was built after the 1850s. The whole
Yeah, I
thing.
believe that. Yeah, no
I
question
would,
there.
Bob, would you agree that this is likely a shingle style, early shingle style, where you had that, and the gable rake would be a Carpenter Gothic feature, as well as vertical board and batten siding?
I don't know. The addition could have been the main house. Clearly was classic Greek revival with either full vertical trim board with capitals, as you can see revealed on the left side of the front entry, or the equivalent of that. What they did with the addition, I don't know. It could have been done in a shingle style, sure. But I don't know that there's any evidence of that, and it might be something turns up when you start pulling it apart.
Well, I think the shape, the proportions of it, and the era, the 1850 to 1870s, is the beginning of that Shelley style.
That's true.
And that's there's one like it in Falmouth on trying to think of the name of the road that runs the backside parallel to the Woods Hole Road. But it's a full restoration, and the shape and appearance of this shell reminds me very strongly of that particular building. I wouldn't be surprised to find underneath this aluminum siding that the trim has been cut back from what they couldn't cover with aluminum. So they just got rid of the gingerbread and just boxed it. So
I agree.
because of the roof pitch, that's what gives me that strong sense of shingle style.
No, that might be true. I promise you from studies I did years ago when I was pursuing my degree, we frequently talked about what you would find underneath vinyl and aluminum siding. And commonly you'll find trim was removed in order to accommodate the application of the siding, but the ghost outline of the original trim will still be there to inform whatever you might choose to do later. And
Yeah.
I think Jimmy already kind of referred to that, whether you meant that literally or not, that you may have some interesting little discoveries, except Greek Revival is simple enough. It won't be too surprising, I don't
Yeah,
think.
I think
If it
so.
were if it were earlier or Gothic or something like that, you might find much more creative, innovative shapes and sizes to deal
I
with.
bet, yeah.
Yeah, I think your windows.
Think about board on the sides, but I won't vote against it.
Okay. I'll bring that up with the owner.
I'm
yes.
sure that is what was originally there. Yeah.
It looks
Anybody
like
else?
Marilyn would like to make a comment.
Oh, good. Marilyn?
Marilyn?
Yes.
Thank you. I think the applicant mentioned conferring with Sarah Korjeff at the Cape Cod Commission. And I just wanted to say how much I always appreciate that, because it gives us an opportunity to share in her review and to benefit from it. So thank you.
Yeah, she's very nice to work with and very helpful to us.
Oh, she is indeed.
Good.
Are we ready for a vote, or anyone else comments? If someone would like to make a motion, they may.
I don't have a copy of it.
Cheryl, do you want to do it?
Yeah, I'll do it if you like. Kazosian. So Kazosian Mark, 649 Scudder Avenue, Hyannis map 24287, parcel 050, built 1908. Partial demolition, demolish the existing sunroom, two-story addition on the left side, multiple additions on the rear, existing chimneys, and lift original circa 1850 structure to excavate for new foundation. Front, right, left, and rear elevation changes to include additions and updates to windows, doors, trim, siding, and repair of any rotted materials. I move that after review and consideration of the public testimony, the application and associated materials, the significant building at 649 Scudder Ave, Hyannis is a preferably preserved significant building.
A second?
I'll second that.
Barbara DiBiase is seconding it. Okay, we have an I vote would impose an 18-month delay. A nay will not impose an 18-month delay. Okay, Barbara,
Nay.
Bob Frazee,
Nay.
Marilyn Fifield,
Nay.
George Jessup,
Hey,
Cheryl Powell,
Nay.
Nancy Shoemaker, nay. Okay, moving on to our next motion.
The next motion, so I move that in accordance with section 112-3F, the Barnstable Historical Commission determines that the partial demolition of the building located 649 Scudder Avenue, Hyannis is not detrimental to the historical, cultural, and architectural heritage resources of the town.
I'll second that.
Barbara seconding the motion. And I vote determines that the partial demolition of the single-family structure is not detrimental, no demolition delay imposed. Marilyn Fifield,
Aye.
George Jessup,
hi.
Cheryl Powell,
Aye.
Barbara DiBiase,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
and Nancy Shoemaker, aye. So you are free to continue, and I'm so glad that house is going to look much closer to the way it was back in the 80s. It's
Well,
great.
thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, do we have anyone here for our first applicant?
Vice
Okay.
Chair, this is Erica Brown. I don't see anyone here for the first application. So point of order, we can either, if you feel that you have enough information, you can either take a motion on it or you can choose to continue it again. And hopefully they would make it the next time.
Might I suggest we continue? This would be the first continuation for them, is that right?
No,
This will
this
be
is
the
the new,
second.
Oh, the second? Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, this is the one that we bifurcated at the last meeting.
Oh,
We
it is,
approved the
yes.
front porch, and this is for
Yep.
the stone pillars.
do I hear a motion to continue this to next month?
Could I ask a question? Is the tradition of the commission to go ahead and do a continuation under these circumstances? I haven't watched closely enough over the last few years to know what you're up to normally. I mean,
would
if there
say
is, I think
We
it's fine.
normally do
Do
give the applicant another
another
month.
shot.
Yeah,
Okay, no, I have no problem with that. I just wanted to check and see what the drill usually is.
George Jessup, how are we in time on this, Erica? Are we within the 60 days?
This would be the second continuance. I'll have to reach out to them to ask for an extension, but you are within the 65 days as you speak.
We are, okay.
so do we have a motion to continue or to vote on it now? Up to you.
I'd be willing to move. We continue this application to the next date available within the
March
confines.
19th.
March 19th, yeah. As long as
Yeah,
that
that-
meets the requirements, as George asked, that's fine.
Is there a second?
I'll
I'll second.
Okay, Barbara,
Go get it.
Okay.
Question, please. What
Sure.
happens if someone doesn't represent that the situation on the third pass?
On the third pass, you can make a decision. You
Either way.
can decide either to let it go and approve it, or you can decide to impose the 18-month delay based upon the information that you do have.
Got it. Okay.
Erica, just a
Thanks, Erica.
clarification, we don't have to wait till the third one. It can always be earlier since they
Yes.
didn't show up. We don't have
This is
to
true.
wait after the third.
Yes,
Mhm.
you can more than certainly go ahead and make a decision tonight if you had so wished to, or you can move to continue it.
Did we hear from the applicant at all?
I did not. I emailed them with the week in advance, and I did on Friday as well, and I emailed them during this meeting, and I have not heard back.
I drove by the property on Friday last week to look at the stone pillars and get a sense of the context. And I can tell you there's an awful lot of work going on. They've got the porch off. They're doing a tremendous amount of construction and follow up to the last meeting's permission to do so. But that doesn't mean that there's somebody picking up the phone or watching their email, unfortunately.
Is there any likelihood that a truck will back into it and knock it over so they'll have to rebuild it?
I wouldn't choose
Potentially.
to speculate on that. But I can
don't
confirm
put the
that
thought in their head.
I can confirm that the person who testified regarding the subject of these pillars at our hearing, considering them the first time, was correct in pointing out that there are at least two others in fairly near proximity in the neighborhood within a block or so.
Ac- I went over there too. There are 4 small ones on
Yeah.
the corner of Nickerson Road that's on the west side. There's
Yeah.
another one further to the north on the west side. And then there are the 2 we're talking about, and just south of them is another one. So there are 8 of them there. And then
Okay,
heard from some historians, 2 historians from Katuitt, that there are some of them on Ocean View Ave. Is it Ocean
oh, I
View
didn't
Ave?
think of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And Main Street, Nancy.
Well, Main
'cause-
Street, but then
Yeah.
those 8 of
And
them
then
are on
Ocean View.
But Ocean View, apparently, I was just over there, I think, Saturday. So I will check and see where they might, if there are more than the 8 on Main Street, and therefore there are some on Ocean View. I do not know that. I've been told that only.
Are these
Interesting.
structures that were done by our historic stonemason?
Yeah,
In Katuitt?
I did write down some information on it. I have to see where I find it, but yeah, they were very likely done in the maybe later mid to late 1800s. And they are considered a historic structure. Am I correct? Yeah. I don't see where my notes are on that, but we're getting information from a couple of people and I've heard from, like I say, two so far, hoping to get from at least one more.
So it's a National Register district. And so one of the thoughts is that I have is there's kind of a family of these things in context with the district. And I think that may be one of the things we'll have to talk about with the.
To give a
applicant.
uniqueness to it.
Yeah.
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 But we have a motion on the floor.
Yes, we
So
do. So we just should vote on that.
Could we reiterate that motion, please?
To continue?
Bob,
Yeah, it was simply a motion that we continue this hearing to the next available date, which is the March, I'm sorry, Erica, 17th, did you say?
March 19th.
19th date.
Barbara seconded that.
Yep.
So, okay, George,
Aye.
Cheryl,
I'm going to say nay. Just to clarify, Erica, they didn't respond. They missed another one. Is that correct? On a continuing?
No, they were here for the
first
last one. The last one was their
They were
first
here for the
meeting.
last one. In that case, I'll say aye.
Barbara,
Aye.
Bob Frazee,
Aye.
Marilyn Fifield,
Aye.
and Nancy, aye. This is a new application, am I correct, Erica? The last one, we told them that they could do what they needed to do on the house. And isn't this a separate new application or is it just?
No, it's the
Right.
same application. We bifurcated the motion for the approval. So we were able to approve one portion of the application. This is for that secondary portion of the application. A new application was not required for it because it was within the first application.
So by bifurcating, we created a second application out of the first, and we have voted to continue it once. This is a second continuation.
Yeah.
Yes.
We split it.
All right. So I think the next thing that we want to talk about will be the Tracer artifacts. We
Yes.
actually have news.
Yes, Kate did give me an update. She said staff is currently in coordination with a potential consultant seeking creation of a catalog to include pictures, description, and any other known information for each of the artifacts. The catalog will be prepared by a professional consultant with expertise in conservation, with the appropriate qualifications in handling and evaluating historic artifacts. Staff provided the subject expert with all documentation achieved to date for the artifacts and current pictures as well as video of the artifacts and the space in order to coordinate a proposal. The goal is to achieve this effort during the springtime, and staff anticipates being in receipt of a proposal by the end of this week. So when I mentioned springtime, we're looking to start in March.
Okay.
A couple of things. One is, I think a historian, local historian should have would be helpful to be with that person working on the catalog because they may have some more information. Someone like Bob Frazee. But
Well, I don't know if I need to look over their shoulder every minute of what they're doing, but I'm more than happy to
it
meet
would be
with
good
that
to-
person is what I'm trying to.
one or more of us to check over what they have done because we do know a little more about this area than, others might.
Yeah,
And then
I have-
also,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just gonna say I have passed along that information to Kate, and I know that I think she just wants to nail down a consultant first, and then go ahead and possibly, hopefully, bring Bob into this as well to help out and such.
And then
that's
once the it's out there and you're figuring out where to place things, again, I really, really think that every one of the villages should be represented, or they don't have to necessarily be on the committee, but be viewing what's happening in case there's something that they know that somebody else doesn't. I think every village should have some say from someone on the process.
I'll reiterate that to Kate as well again.
I know I've said that to you already, but
No
they
worries.
all have.
No, I know how important it is, so I want to make sure that you know that I am reiterating this information.
Thank
We
you.
had actually asked for permission to go there and have a look, and that was going to be arranged on a couple of occasions, but it never really happened.
I can look into that. I can talk with Kate about that. It is still at 200 Main Street in the building department.
Up in the
building
attic,
there.
right?
Hmm?
Up in the attic, I believe, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about how healthy it is for it to be up in the attic as well. That's why we wanted to have a look at the conditions that it's being kept in.
It may not be terribly healthy for the people looking at it or cataloging it either after all this time up there, but you never know.
There
I
were
mean,
two or
attics
three-
are
there were
attics.
two
Are
or
attics.
three items that were being stored on the first floor.
Ah.
Be aware of that, and we need to make sure
Mhm.
people, you know, it's been 20 years, over 20 years. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
people,
partner, Nancy.
employees have changed. It's not that they mean to do anything wrong, but they may not be aware of some of these facts.
We were also told that two or three pieces were missing, were they not, from the original inventory?
Well, from the original inventory, Tales of Cape Cod asked to remove some things, and for some reason they were allowed to. It's not that they were wrong to ask, but I'm not so sure it was right to have given them out, but that part is true.
And that's a
Were they
horse that left
given?
the barn.
Were they given out or loaned out?
Given, from what I understand.
My guess is in the absence of a policy about, that's a very good question, Cheryl. I doubt there was a particular policy in place or in force to guide that decision one way or the other at that time. I
There
mean,
was
that's,
a decision that nobody should take anything. There was.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well. Nobody was supposed to take anything.
Mhm.
Well,
But it's
if
not
there's one-
killed, not guilty of anything. It's,
if there's one thing everyone could
Yeah.
probably agree on, regardless of who you'd ask, it's that this has taken way too long. It's
Yeah.
not good for the artifacts and it could have been done better. But
Yeah.
let's, you know, that's all history for now. I'm glad there's some progress.
Yeah.
If we can keep it moving, it will be good. I want to just add that I know the town is trying to move forward with the 200 Main building or property, and you know, that will jet propel this at some point. And I want to be careful, ask the town to be careful, not to suddenly decide that for the sake of expediency, it's now time to just willy-nilly move all this stuff out of the attic in a hurry and pile it all in a room. And, you know, just, we've taken so long now, let's not screw it up at this point, I guess is all. I'm
It's not a
trying to get
dumpster
across.
fire.
I mean,
Of
it
course.
could easily happen that way. And it don't, again, I don't believe anybody would mean any harm in it. I just know that the haste could definitely waste some important and fragile things. And that would be a serious shame. So
Yes.
I'm off my soapbox.
so we have quite a few other little things to discuss here. One is the election of the chairman. I do not want to be one of those people vying for that position. And the other one is we need to, I guess, actually take a vote, Erica, on asking if Bob Frazee by the appointments committee will accept him as a regular member.
Yep, and we did the same thing with Barbara
Barbara.
a couple months ago, where
was
we're
thinking
just
that.
going to do a motion to give support from the commission to elevate Bob's status from alternate member to full member. And then I will draft a letter of support for that and send it to Cindy Level. She will schedule it for the next town council meeting. I believe she said in March. It does have to go through 2 read-throughs before it is fully approved. And then you should be a full member at that point, in which she would send you a letter.
Sure. Thank you. That's fine. Does it need to go to the appointments committee before it goes to the council?
Yes.
Yes, I
Yes.
thought so. So that's like a 3-step, not just a 2, which is fine. I'm not, either way, I'm here, no matter.
So do I have a motion? We actually have to make a vote. Do I have a motion from someone that we would like to have Bob Frazee become a permanent member of the Barnstable Historical Commission?
I'll make a motion to make him a permanent member.
And I'll second
Petition
that.
is open, yeah.
They sound reluctant, huh?
No, I'm not reluctant. It's, you know, I don't know you very well, Bob, but I think, you know, you're great at contributing. I'm on other things and people don't show up. You've shown up every time. You
And we
definitely
should
show an
join you.
interest. There's an opening there and I see no reason why you shouldn't move up to it.
I regret what caused the opening, I must say, but,
Well, I wasn't saying I was pleased about it.
oh, no, of course not. No, I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah.
Don't worry.
So Marilyn, your vote?
Aye.
George?
Definitely, yes.
Carol?
I'll move it. We move him up.
Barbara?
Yes.
Agree, rather.
And I vote yes too. So if Erica, you could let the appointments committee know that we would welcome having Bob be our, a permanent member.
I shall.
Thank you.
And they should begin interviewing for an alternate.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
Actually,
we will have
honestly,
an
they should.
alternate position open, yes.
Yeah.
well, I don't officially, but
Yeah, I know a couple of people have been asking. And the chairman election, I mean, do you want to discuss it or, I mean, I'll do it for another month if I have to, but
Well, Erica, what is the protocol if in fact there is one?
So we can vote on a new chairman at this point in time. We usually do annual appointments of election of chair and vice chair and clerk in June or July when the fiscal year is up. That's normally when they take place, but since we do have a vacancy in the position, we can elect a chair for now up until that time.
Nancy, are you willing to continue until June so we can do it at the regular election time?
well, I'll do it for another month. Let's see. I just, I work 7 days a week. It's just crazy. So I would prefer to be vice chairman or just a very regular commission member.
I was kind of going to ask the same question more, and I totally get what you just said, Nancy, don't worry, I understand that, but to have it be more in sequence with the rest of the normal procedural process for other commissions and committees, and also there'd be time then for me to be a commissioner voting, and maybe there would even be time for an alternate between now and then. I don't know if that's true, but you'd have a larger field to work with, or a full commission is another way to put it.
I like that
I'm not sure
proposal.
how-
And Bob, it gives us a better chance to get to know you too.
Sure.
And when, if there's a
I can
time
vouch
when
for
I
that.
cannot be there, Erica, who would it go to?
Whoever's voted.
Clerk,
Oh, the clerk. Yeah, the clerk.
Yep, the clerk would be the next proceeding officer at that point in time.
Oh, so that would be Marilyn.
Yes.
Oh,
And
good.
Marilyn, as clerk, she can conduct a meeting. There's something she can't do though. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember all. It'll come to me.
Yeah. Good.
I am
Yes, she
going to
can
have to
conduct the
leave here.
meeting.
Okay.
The other thing that in the interim, I just wanted to point this out for anyone who is considering to be chair or wants to help out with any of the responsibilities. The chair can determine a designee to make initial determinations. So we do have it where we do have a lot of applications that do come in, and the chair normally makes a determination, an initial determination of whether or not it can be administratively approved, or if it's significant, it needs to come to a meeting. So the chair normally does that, but the chair can designate a designee to do that as well.
Can you clarify what a designee is?
A designee would be essentially, again, in that sense, making that initial determination. So the designee would look over the plans and proposals and designs and make that first initial determination of whether it may be approved or if it would come to a meeting.
You're talking about applications?
Yes.
I chair two other commissions, as you know. My personal opinion on that is I always say that I'm one voice, one vote, because I know that there were problems in the past where it's not including the rest of the commission or committee members, whatever it is. And I thought it involved the other commission stroke committee members, because sometimes they're called different things, in the decision, as opposed to there's no point in us meeting if one person's going to decide and we just come in to say yes.
Well, Nancy would often ask me, she's asked George, I'm sure many times, she's even asked you, Bob, right, to go to the site.
She's asked me to look at a couple of things. Clearly, in her case, because of her mobility issues, she
Yeah.
couldn't hop in the car and go look. So
But
in that
I will-
context, yeah.
I will definitely try to put this on all of your shoulders, so.
We all go and look at the properties, but most of the time anyway, it's just so that there's an open meeting law, so there's no predetermination.
Interesting.
So I guess we're all in agreement with that.
I know that Old Kings Highway, which is a different entity, but has some similar issues to contend with. Quite frequently, the chairperson does a drive-by or a review of the property or looks at the application and makes a determination up front whether or not it is something that would require an application before them. And that's an up or down. Some things can be moved to the exemption process, which may or may not require a hearing, and others go straight to a hearing. I don't think that procedurally this commission operates the same way, but I'm not sure. Does it, Erica, to some extent in your understanding?
No, so it's a little bit different. Like I said, according to the code.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can bring up exactly what it says.
And Cheryl, do you chair the Hyannis
I
Waterfront?
chair both the Human Services Committee and the Hyannis Main Street and Waterfront
That's the
Historic
one I was
District
thinking of.
Committee for the last 8 years.
For sure, and
It was a learning
I
process.
kind of knew that, but I wanted to be sure I was right.
It was vertical. I came, I don't want, because this is all public, but there were some that say, why don't you just go ahead and approve stuff and not approve stuff? And sometimes it's so contentious. So I checked with the Massachusetts Ethics and the Attorney General's office, and they said, you want to be careful about predetermination with open meeting law. You don't want to predetermine what everything is, because that's what it's called. And I thought, okay, that makes perfect sense. So.
And I'd like to encourage, and I've said this before too, that if someone like George and Bob and Jack, who have experience, have knowledge and education of architecture, if they were to go in and with the permission and the desire by the applicant to have them come in and look at it, very often that may help us vote positively for what they want.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Recently, if people had gone in ahead of time and seen it, we would have gone, sure.
Well,
Yeah.
Nancy, there's a recent one that you and I tried very hard to go in at the request of the applicant, and you, without naming the application.
I did finally
And
get in.
it's always good to, oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had to do drive-bys, but it's just to keep it clean.
Just
Well, it
for
makes
the
sense.
sake of, for the understanding, this is what our E-code actually reads for this portion which I was speaking about. When an applicant has filed a notice of intent to demolish a building that is over 75 years of age, which neither has been listed nor is the subject of a pending application for listing on the National Register of Historic Places, nor has been listed on the Massachusetts Register of Historic Places, the commission chair or chair's designee, in consultation with the planning and development department staff, shall within 21 business days of the filing of notice of intent, file with the town clerk an initial determination in writing as to whether or not the building is a significant building in accordance with any criterion set forthwith in chapter 112-2, definition of significant buildings, subsections A and B. A determination that a building is not significant building shall be transmitted by the commission to the applicant, to the building commissioner, and to the town clerk, and the applicant shall not be required to take any further steps to filing for a demolition permit. This determination shall be in effect for 24 months from the date of the determination filing with the town clerk. After the 24 months have elapsed, a new determination shall be required. So that is that initial determination.
For listed,
of which I
for
was
non-listed. It looks like it's for non-listed.
Yep, so we get,
And it's
we've
about the
seen on-
value of the building more than it's about what they're proposing to do to it. In fact, it's not at all about what they're proposing to do to it. It's about whether
Exactly.
the building kicks, or triggers the need for review, right? That's what I hear from that.
yes.
And
We do get a
non-listed.
lot of proposals that are for buildings that are just 75 years or older, as far
Yes.
as I am aware of, that it's not inventoried or within a National Register district, nor up for consideration to be on the National Register. So we do get a lot of those applications, and those are the ones that get reviewed before coming to a meeting, are that initial determination.
Well, I think actually a lot of even the listed ones are reviewed and people going by to do a drive-by or have at their request to have a look, to report back to the overall commission on what they saw. But
Yeah, but we should,
Oh,
I'm gonna have to leave soon and then somebody.
I
would
do
have-
too. I was supposed to leave about half an hour ago.
We get on to in-person versus remote. Is there discussion? Do we want to stay on Zoom or not? It's the
I
only-
would prefer to meet in person.
Me too.
I would also, but if it's a complicated discussion, it's something that we could put off a month.
And
I
if
don't-
George, you would
everybody else.
find it hard to come in, that's a consideration.
No, not necessarily. As a matter of fact, I was one of those that thought that we should get back to in-person meetings as soon as the pandemic was over.
Mhm.
And I think we lose too much by this peeking through the window approach. We don't get to see the reaction of our applicants or presenters. I think it's very important that we see that we can watch how the applicants react to our comments. It tempers our arguments as well. So I'm for a physical presence.
How about Marilyn? We haven't heard from you.
I'm strongly in the minority and I strongly disagree.
Okay,
Okay.
Thank you.
let's
It's all right. All right, we understand.
certainly do another Zoom meeting for now, for next month, okay?
Yeah, and is the possibility of hybridizing the meetings
definitely.
available to us? I know, that's why I asked, Eric. I could see your reaction.
Unfortunately
It becomes
not. The only
complicated.
one that can do a hybrid meeting is the town council.
Okay.
I've asked that question before.
Oh, have you? I didn't. Well, it
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me you haven't. I'm sorry. But it's because it's a logical one. It makes sense to wonder.
Yeah.
I have informed applicants for March that we would be remote, so I would prefer obviously to stay remote for those applicants.
Yes.
And then next meeting, if we want to pick up the discussion again, we can talk about it for April.
Okay.
Madam,
Marilyn, you're so valuable in your knowledge. I'd hate to have you
Thank
not stay
oh,
here.
absolutely.
That's generous. Thank you.
No, it's not generous. It's accurate.
Yes. Community Preservation Committee?
The Community Preservation Committee did meet last month, but it did not have any applicants on the agenda, so there was really nothing to consider. So there's no real report.
Discussion of upcoming historical events. I'm gonna have a lot soon, but not really at the moment.
No, I don't know if I know of anything.
Did I tell you all that Plymouth is planning on having a Mercy Otis Warren? What do I want to call it?
Festival?
I think that's so interesting that she spent her first 28 years here in West Barnstable. Then at 86 or something like that, when she died, she spent all that time in Plymouth, and her two homes that she lived in are still here. So Plymouth wants to make sure, or these people want to make sure, that she is also identified with Plymouth, and because they say that people only think of the Mayflower and the Pilgrims. So that's kind of a nice thing. And it's very, very likely that at the final step that she will have a bust of herself at the town, at the State House, and she would be the first woman to do so.
Lovely.
Very
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
Nancy, I have a couple of things under the other things not considered when you get there. I just want to make sure I say that before we run out of time.
Yeah.
Possible.
Go ahead.
Oh, are we there? I mean, I wasn't sure if we were.
Are there any minutes to approve?
Not at the moment, no.
Oh, you go right ahead.
All right. So one is that, just to inform the commission, right near the end of January, Greg Ketchen, who's the president of the Coast Guard Heritage Museum, who's also a friend of mine, and I live near the museum, invited me to meet with him up at the museum building, which is our U.S. Customs House, to look at some potential display ideas and exhibit ideas he had for next year, and particularly to look at one room and to examine what he saw as potential damage in the building that was occurring through means he was not clear to understand. And he also invited Mark Marinaccio, the town architect, and David Anthony, the property manager, to look at those things as well. And I want you to know that together we looked briefly at the east elevation on the first floor in the room space that was at one time the U.S. Post Office. And one of the two window frames, and mind you, they're cast iron frames, supported, we think not by timber, but by cast iron and brick mortar, are compressing substantially to the point that one of the window sills has boned up and split.
Hmm.
And that means quite a lot of, George, I know you'd be interested, there's quite a lot of movement has occurred slowly, but not as slowly as we'd all like. And the town architect's on it and is going to get an engineer who's knowledgeable about brick structures of that type to get in there and take a look quickly. And they will probably have to dismantle some of the interior in order to, the interior finish of the room in order to understand what's going on inside, and hopefully not mess up the museum's abilities to go forward with their exhibit plans and things. But time, stay tuned for further bulletins. It's not an emergency, but it's an emerging thing.
Close enough, yeah.
Well, it's close enough when it's a building like that. I mean, that's a special listed structure of very high prominence in the community.
1854, 1856?
1855, I think, and 1858 is maybe when it was finished. But it's an IBB Young Customs House, et cetera. The other thing I wanted to ask about, and I don't want to hold you all up, and Cheryl, I want to do it before she has to disappear too. I am remiss in not having read my mail from you, Erica. Thank you very much. A lot sooner than I did, or from the EOM process with a Section 106 review for New England Wind. But I understand that we, as consulting parties, meaning Historical Commission in our case, invited to sit in on their Zoom meetings and to offer comments and receive their comments, are instructed or asked, and I'm not sure which it is, to read their final documents and sign off on them or sign them that we have either acknowledged, read, or agreed to, or something, and I'm not sure exactly what the verbiage is there. And I think we have until February 23rd to do so, which is like no time at all.
Erica, there's,
Thank you, Cheryl.
I did send an email because I received this MOA, and I've had a few people who have said, who signed off on it, because I certainly haven't, but when I try to open it, it says that is no longer available. It was sent to the town, I believe, on the 2nd of November. We received it, I believe, on the 13th of November, and the word was expired. So I didn't get the instructions that we had to read and sign it.
It came out in February 2nd.
Yeah,
Sorry,
MOA.
did I say
It was
February 2nd?
Yeah.
And then we received it the 13th of February.
The link did expire on the 19th, and I asked them for a new link, so I'll be sending that out.
Because there was another time when we were sent stuff, but the file was too big, so nobody got it, including the invite, until about 7 or 8 minutes before.
Yeah, they upload it to a secure site now and send the link to that to avoid that. But still, it's a complex process, and we all know this. The documents are thick, deep, and very complex too. And I'm not sure. So what I'm asking is, what is the responsibility of the commission? And is it as a commission as a whole, or is it just the individuals who sat in on some of the meetings? Because I don't know about you, Cheryl, I was only in there for a couple of them, of the whole list.
So I can answer that.
Thank you.
It was originally a vote, and there were 3 people that were put on that committee. It was Fran Parks, who is no longer on this commission. It was George Jessup and myself.
Okay.
I believe you took Fran's spot, which is wonderful. But well, no, I think it's great. But the thing is, we can't sign off on something we haven't seen.
Right.
My last comment, as you know, because you were at that meeting, is because of the information that we had not received. If we could please receive that information, and I was assured at that meeting that would be sent to us. I have not received it. I thought when I got that email, oh, that's good, but it's said it's an MOA, but it says it comes up with this little like dragon. It's a little black side view of a dragon like thing, like you find dragon gargoyle, whatever, and it's only about 1 inch high, and it says this site has expired, so it's no longer available. So we're kind of. Does yours not say that? Or did you not receive that?
I don't remember seeing anything quite like that, but I
I'm
did
sure
know.
Erica will fix that.
Can you send me your email and I will forward you a copy of what I got? And if you can open it, then send me the open version. But Erica, can I request that we could send something that we can open, please? Because the way it was set up is we were supposed to report back to when we had everything to the Barnstable Historic, But now if the expiry is the 23rd, is there any way, one, we can extend that, or two, we can, what do you want us to do? What is the, because we represent the Barnstable Historic Commission, we don't represent ourselves. It's
Right.
us as being elected into that position.
Yeah, I know that in the beginning of January, they had sent out the comment period before sending the MOA. So I know that I had sent that. Give me 1 second.
My impression is we've been receiving emails directly as participants individually and also from you, Erica, and they're usually the same link within a day or two, or the same information with it, which is awesome. I mean, to have it that way. I was able to open the website and download whatever the materials are. I have not had a chance to read them. So at least it sounds like I got a little further than you were able to, Cheryl, but I don't know why.
Would you mind forwarding that to me?
I can forward you the link and you can take a shot at it. I don't know if the link is still viable, but yeah.
But if you downloaded it,
Did
if
send me a
you
new
have it
link
in a
today
file.
while we've been on this meeting. I just checked my email. So they did send me a new link, so I can send you the new
that's
link that
great.
is not expired for the
Thank
final
you.
MOA.
Thank you. Yeah, because I couldn't send you the materials. They're way too massive. That's why they're using the thing they're using. I would happily do it, but I don't have the ability to. But what Erica is going to send you will do it.
I have
Final
a,
MOA should have all of the materials in that file.
All
Yeah.
of them? Okay,
Link.
that's what I asked for. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
it should.
have, I have,
Comment. George?
hello, I have a link from Dana Allen.
Yeah.
Section 106 lead. It says here, as with the last link, due to IT restrictions, the link will be good for 7 days, expiring on Monday, February 19th. If you need access after this date, please email us at, and then I have the email address.
Yeah.
And we will provide you a new link.
Can you all maybe do this? Yeah, I really gotta go. Can you guys take care of this with Erica emailing back and forth?
If you want, Marilyn, you're still on. You can take over as clerk.
Can I designate you?
The chair, vice chair can designate me if you want. It's up to the acting
Marilyn,
chair.
you have to go, you're saying? I thought,
I do have to go, but this is the last item.
okay. So before wait, you have another item? No.
No, which only
Okay.
other item is
Right.
this 106 thing and an adjournment.
Okay, we have
Before we
here,
adjourn, I would just like us to, again, between all of us, say how much we miss Nancy and what an remarkable woman. I mean, she brought programs out nationwide for stamp history to Boy Scouts and all sorts of hidden things that, she wasn't touting. And again, I just, I couldn't get over how strong she was during all of her things that were dealt to her.
yeah,
She had a unique perception about things that might be worth preserving as well. I'm thinking of that copper-clad chimney we didn't.
You and I
her on last
weren't in
meeting,
agreement with that,
But
but
I feel a little guilty. I didn't vote along with her on that now, but I don't
Oh.
really. I'm fine with it. But I was charmed that she looked at it the way she did, and it opened my eyes to a different way of looking at some of these things, just hearing her do that. So good for her.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
George, you were going to say something?
no, I'll miss Nancy, surprisingly. I didn't get to see her lately for the last couple of years, more than once a month. But still, we knew she was there in spirit whenever we had a meeting without her, because she was always such a strong influence in her when she was present, in spite of her infirmity. So she's still hanging around. She's still a presence felt.
Yep.
In my couple of decades on the Historical Commission, I think she has been unmatched in her dedication despite all her health challenges, which I think we can't even really appreciate.
No,
Yeah, I agree,
we
Marilyn.
can't appreciate.
Well put. Yeah. Well, I
Right.
suppose we can have a vote to end our meeting, but thank you, Nancy Clark. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion to adjourn. And
Second,
by the way, before we take a vote on that, Erica, I have just received this MOA. Let me see if I can open it because we're still in between that and the vote.
I'm not still sure what we're supposed to do with it. I don't know that we answered that question.
Unfortunately, the section 106 started before I was present in here. I was just told to forward all information that comes in to everyone. So unfortunately, I do not have that answer, but I can definitely converse with Elizabeth Jenkins and try to get a more.
Okay, I've received it, but it wants a password. I don't have an account set up, so I don't have a password.
The password should be right under that link in the email.
yeah, the password's usually typed right under the link, next thing below it.
Oh,
You should be able
I
to
mean, it's-
highlight it and copy it.
Yeah, it's not a high-end password as a rule. Just leave it at that.
I have both. I have the link and I have the password.
password is incorrect. The password in the blue, let's see if I can just do that. Nope. Won't let me in.
That's the email address that I have in blue. I have a purple or pink.
Don't give
link.
this is
Yeah,
public
don't
meeting.
put it out.
I know,
over
I'm not.
there.
Oh, I'm not. That's why I
I'll
mentioned it.
solve
No, I
this
know, I
maybe
know.
with
I just
Erica.
didn't-
Yeah.
And then
Didn't
I
want to
have-
accidentally.
I have a pink link and I have a password after that.
It was able to let me in with that password.
And
I had to
Uh,
try twice with the one I had, but the second try did work.
you know what, Erica can find out if other people had problems and what, maybe she can go to the initiator of that and they can make it a little easier and then let
Yeah.
all of you know.
I'm
What-
guessing we're not the
Tried
only,
6 times.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing we're not the only group struggling a little bit
Probably,
with this. There were a
yeah.
lot of people on the consulting parties list. And maybe, was it Mr. Hall or Mr. Allen? I've forgotten his name now, but the gentleman who signs all of those emails would be willing to let you know, Erica, what we can do
My
about.
computer just said I have a low battery and I'm gonna,
Yeah. It says
Staying
link
staying at
password is
time.
incorrect.
Hmm.
Okay, so link password is incorrect. Erica, if you could find out for us, please. You have my
Yeah.
cell number. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So
you.
while you're still here, Nancy, I mean, since you're sharing, there's an adjournment and a second for adjournment. Do
we
you?
had a second of Bob, so
Roll call vote.
George, oh, he's frozen. No, he's not.
I
All right, good. Cheryl,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes to adjourn.
Marilyn,
Yes.
Bob,
Aye, yes.
Nancy Shoemaker. I don't have to say the last name anymore. Aye.
Oh, no, you don't. I shouldn't have
Thank you,
laughed.
Erica. You're so, you're such a good support for us. Thank you.